So a user sends over a request to add a new custom field to an object in Salesforce. On the surface, this may seem like a fairly routine task. Let's go ahead and get the field added so they can get to work, right? We may not see the dire impact today, but over time, this lackadaisical approach is going to bite us. It's going to create a mess that we're going to have to dig ourselves out of. Let's take a look at best practices and critical questions that you need to be asking before you head to Object Manager. So first and foremost, we need to ask, why is this custom field needed? What's the business reason behind it? Essentially, what problem are we trying to solve? We need to dig into the business case and the process that it supports. Without this, it's easy to create clutter in our database and a mess in our user interfaces. Once you understand the why, the rest of these questions become a lot easier. Next, is there already a field capturing this data? It may seem like a silly question, but I have seen on several different occasions where someone will come request a new field that mirrors an existing one. Maybe that existing one's labeled something different, but the data capture is essentially the same. When we add duplicates, it creates confusion for our users and triggers data management mess that we are going to pay for in the future. Never take a user's word for it. Do the research yourself to ensure we aren't duplicating efforts. Now, I'm not saying that your user is lying to you. Essentially, they may not realize it's there. This is where having a data dictionary can be really helpful to clarify the intent behind every field in a comprehensive view. Lastly, let's make sure this data doesn't already exist on the parent object. We can easily pull that in to the form via a formula field and display it as read-only text. So this one goes hand in hand with our next question, which is, what type of data are we capturing? This answer helps us define the data type. And so we don't fall into the trap of just defaulting everything to a text field. If we understand that's a number or a date, we can capture it appropriately and lean on Salesforce's built-in tools to enforce those data type checks. We also need to understand the nuances of our data. Do we need to capture rich text? How long is the data set that we're going to be putting in that field? If it's a number, what kind of precision do we need to capture from a decimal point standpoint? Are there performance concerns? Say if we need to capture a formula field. Our next question asks if the field should be required. Now we walk a very fine line when it comes to required fields. If we're too strict, it implements the user's progress. They get frustrated, they enter junk data just to get around it. Yet if we're too lax, we fail to capture necessary information to run our business. Say we had a sales record without a contact method. I mean, what's the point? Understanding the business need can help answer this. We also want to ask, where is this field appearing on the form? If we shuffle fields at random, it can read like a ransom letter to our users. There are usually logical groupings within a form, so we need to ask, how do we best group these items together so that they make sense from a data entry perspective? Come to the table with suggestions on this one, because you likely understand the flow of that existing form as well as anyone. Next, how should we label our field to relay its intention? We want to make sure our fields are self-explanatory as possible. Users should not be racking their brains as to what goes in this field. Use the help text to provide a succinct description of what this field is capturing. Without this guidance, people will bypass this field or add junk to minimize their confusion. We also need to ask, what is the impact of this change? Are there reports and dashboards that will need to be updated based off of this data? Do we need to pass this field over through existing APIs or integrations to make sure it stays in sync with external systems? Will it have dependencies on other fields? The data ecosystem is a complex and tangled web. We need to make sure that we account for these various threads so we don't miss a critical step. Hope you didn't forget security. Who should have access to this field? And how are we opening it up? Via profiles, permission sets, and role hierarchies. Are we making the field visible for certain people but not others? Are we capturing sensitive or confidential information? Take the time to understand the security needs that are inherent in this field edition. Lastly, don't forget about that last mile. How are we getting this change into the production environment? What's the timeline needed for this change to get released? What does testing look like from a sandbox and a UAT perspective? Who is ultimately going to sign off that the testing is good so we can actually push this to production? What documentation needs to be updated to reflect this change? Hopefully, by now you can see that adding a field is never as simple as adding a field. There are a lot of considerations to make so that we do it in the right way, so that we're serving our business and we're adding it as it was intended. This should also shine a spotlight on the importance of data governance. With the right governance processes, this list becomes standard practice, with the business bought in and also supporting your process. Thank you for taking a few minutes to explore best practices and the critical questions to ask when adding custom fields in Salesforce. If you found this video helpful, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe to our channel. We'd love to keep you up to date on our future videos.